Hi Astros, this is Mr. Pedrosa, and this week I'm coming to you from our staff lounge, and I wanted to share some information with you about some important things that are being developed here in our district. So in order to evaluate how our schools are doing and to use a growth measure, our district developed some key KPIs, which are key performance indicators. There's actually 5 key performance indicators that are going to be used to evaluate how our school is doing. The first one has to do with the core academic program. So how are we doing with the core academic program, mainly in English and math? How are we doing as far as implementation of Study Sync? And then in math, how are we doing as far as implementation of CPM? The second KPI that the district will be looking at is our engagement and our community involvement. So, what kind of environment do we have at school? Do our parents feel welcomed? Do they feel supported? Our third KPI has to do with our school culture and safety. So how students feel at school, are they feeling safe? How our staff feels as far as being engaged and those kind of things. Our fourth KPI is the system of intervention and support. So when students do struggle, and we know that we have students that struggle, what kind of systems are in place at the school to help those students that are struggling. And then the fifth goal is really a school selected goal. So our ILT team has been working on different types of goals, and the one that we really have worked on is the Achieve 3000, so the improving the literacy skills of students, and then also to have more staff engagement, to make sure our staff feels really good about that. So I just want to share a little bit about how each of those KPIs are going to be measured. I don't want to go through the whole thing, but I do want to share with you how those things are measured. So for example, in the first KPI, which is the core academic KPI, they're going to look at both ELA and math. And so in ELA, what they're going to see, the first thing that they look at is that we are testing at least 98% of our students. So if we test 98% of our students on the MAP test in ELA and math, we're going to get advanced as far as that KPI. Once the students, and there's 3 different times of the year that the KPI gets evaluated. So first one is in November, and then we have one in February, and then we have one at the end of the year. So the November KPI for the core academic program is really looking at whether we tested the majority of our students. And in order for us to get advanced, we have to test 98% of the kids, and we actually hit that mark this year, both in ELA and math. So the next goal would be for February. So in February, once the students take the winter API, we want to see that the kids are on track to meet their goal. So if 70% of the students meet their goal across all grade levels, then we would be considered advanced, and it kind of goes down from there. As far as implementation of the programs, we want to be around 95% of the students, 95% of the staff implementing Study Sync with fidelity, and then 95% of the staff implementing CPM with fidelity. So those are just a couple of examples of how the KPIs are going to be used. I will be putting a copy of the KPIs in your box, so you can look at and you can review them, see how they are. And then at our ILT meeting on Wednesday, we're actually going to be discussing the format of the evaluation process, because it's going to be pretty much it's coming up, in November. To have, we need to choose how we're going to do some of that monitoring and some of that reviewing here on campus. And so we'll be communicating more with you after our ILT meeting, and then also regarding some of the initiatives. As you may notice, I'm wearing my We Care campaign shirt, and I want to talk to you a little bit about that. So the We Care campaign is a district-wide initiative to really help us get the word out for students that are more the internalizers, the students that are struggling with things, and they don't really know who to go to and how to get help. So we're going to be launching some things, talk about it a little bit at the staff meeting of how we're going to get that program rolled out, so that students know that we care about them, and that suicide is final, and that the problems that they're dealing with are temporary. So there are more productive ways of dealing with the things that they're dealing with. All right. Well, hopefully I will see you around campus, and if you have any questions around any of these things, feel free to ask me. Thank you.